Hello.
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 Hello. This is Andrew from Historically Insane, and today we're going to the land of Coulson. What? Okay, I was just informed that I cannot joke about call centers anymore. I'm Andrew, and welcome back to Historically Insane, where today we're traveling to India for a tour of their human geography.
People
Society. Surprisingly, there aren't too many different ethnic groups in India. The country is mostly made up of two groups, Indo-Aryan and Dravidian, which together make up about 97% of the country's population. The small percentage left is mostly made of Mongoloids. We'll go with Mongoloids. It should be noted, however, that even though there aren't too many ethnic groups, the people's ways of life can be drastically different. For instance, people who lived in the northern mountains live very differently from those on the peninsula. This, in some cases, makes them seem like totally different groups of people, as is dramatically vindicated by the languages. There are an obscene amount of different languages in this huge country. There are a whopping 16 official languages and in total 211 recognized ones. Hindi is the only language which is spoken by over 10% of the population. It is spoken by 41% of the population. Bengali, Telugu, Marathi, Tamil, Urdu, Gujarati, Kannada, Malayalam, Oriya, and Punjabi are all spoken by between 3 and 8% of the population. The other 200 languages or so make up the last 8% of the population. English is not really spoken by too many people, but its prominent place in politics earns its spot as an official language. There is virtually no religious discrimination, and no religions are illegal. Due to this, there are many different religions in India. Hindu makes up about 80% of the population, while Islam makes up about 15%. Christianity, Sikhism, and Buddhism make up the remainder of the population. The 5 biggest cities in India are New Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, Bangalore, and Chennai. Even with these huge urban metropolises, many more people live in the country than do in the city. India has only a 32.7 urbanization percentage. Despite this, there is a huge 2.4 annual rate of change, meaning that in the next 15 to 20 years, that will shift to a higher urban population than rural.
Economy.
The quality of life in India is, frankly, well, bad. They are classified under the United Nations as a developing country, and this is definitely reflected by their quality of life statistics. They have a massive economy of $8.7 trillion, 4th in the world. However, this is due to the huge population. The GDP per capita is a mere $6,700. They have the second biggest workforce in the whole world and a respectable 8.4% unemployment rate. Their literacy rate, on the other hand, is not so respectable, with only 71.2% of the population over 15 being able to read and write. Life expectancy is not very good, but could be worse. The life expectancy for males is 67 years old, and the life expectancy for females is 70 years old. Sure, India's quality of life is not anything to write home about. However, there is hope for the future with economic growth. India is still in a transition phase from a command economy to a free market economy. Mostly, they have successfully made the transition. The government no longer has its hands on so many things, and privatization has taken place in many areas of the economy. Despite all this, traces of the past command economy still remain. They now follow a capitalist ideology. It should be noticed that there is still a large population of sustenance farmers in some regions. In terms of raw GDP, India has a much more industrialized economy, with 30% of the GDP being made up by industry, compared to the only 16.5% made up by agriculture. However, it should be noted that services dwarf both industry and agriculture. The workforce paints a different story for India, however. 49% of the workforce works in agriculture, with industry and services having 20 and 31% of the workers respectively. India's top imports and exports pretty much look like the rest of the countries in this area. Their top import is crude oil, and their top export is oil. This suggests that they refine large amounts of oil. They are the largest importer of gold and platinum, and that second on biggest imports. Diamonds are their second most exported commodity. Also noteworthy is that they export large amounts of jewelry and rice. They are best known for their computer and information services, however. Also, being a tea connoisseur, I can confirm that they make some pretty darn good tea. Government. Like most former British colonies, India has a very similar government to the United States. Their executive branch is very similar, except that they have a prime minister. The current president is Pranab Mukherjee, and the current prime minister is Narendra Modi. The president is elected indirectly by the people through an electoral college, and the prime minister is elected by parliamentary members of the majority party. They have a bicameral parliament that might as well be called Congress. They have an upper house called the Rajya Sabha and a lower house called the Lok Sabha, or House of the People. The judicial system consists of a Supreme Court with a total of 26 justices, which preside over many lower courts. An interesting side note is that the Supreme Court judges can only serve until they are 65 years old. They are part of many international organizations, including but far but limited to the World Trade Organization, the World Health Organization, the United Nations, World Customs Organization, World Bank, all that fun stuff. I've been Andrew, and this has been the Human Geography of India. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks for watching.